All right, so in this lesson, we had to add a sprint feature. So what we're going to do is give our character the ability to go faster on the screen. All right, so should be relatively quick. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so from the main screen, the first thing we're going to do is add an action. It can be done in the same spot we did the bindings. So instead of the axis, we're going to do action. All right, so here we're just going to call it sprint. And we're going to assign it the left shift button. All right, so that's that. And from there, here's one other thing we have to do in Unreal, which is come to our blueprints for our character. And in here, we're going to switch to normal blueprint. We're going to click on the character movement component up here. Just type in walk. What we're looking for is the max walk speed, which is at default at 600. We're going to double it. Okay, compile, save. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and open up our Visual Studios, and we're going to go ahead and start adding some stuff to our player character.h file. So down here in the public functions, we're going to go ahead and void enable sprint. And then we're going to do the opposite. Basically, we're going to create a toggle. And with that, we're going to need something to toggle back and forth. That would be the trusty old Boolean. We'll set it to false as default. Proper commenting. And we're going to go ahead and define these functions. Once those are both done, we're done with the H file. So we're going to come over here to where we just define those functions, and we'll put some code in. It's pretty simple again. All we're doing is toggling. So this one here will be true. And this one here will be false. Okay, so that's how the basic toggle is going to work. Each one of these different functions will be called, and therefore toggling back and forth the sprinting feature. So now we need to make some changes to our movement feature. This is how it's going to kind of tap into. So what we're going to do is underneath this if statement, we're going to do a nested one, just a simple one. We'll check to see if that Boolean is set to true or not. If it is, we're going to multiply the value by 2. All right, which means we're going to have to do something with our walk speed. So by default, we're going to nerf our walk speed. So instead of a normal walk speed of 1200, we're going to do a walk speed divided by 2, which will put it back to the 600 walk speed. But if we're sprinting, it's going to multiply it and go to the max of 1200. Okay, so doing the same thing to this side. Again, we can just kind of copy that down and divide that by 2. Again, the last thing we have to do is go back up to our bindings and make them all work together. So we created a character binding section last time. We're going to do character actions. And I guess we can change this to axes. All right, so here we're going to, instead of binding an axis, we're going to do an action. So like I was saying, everything else is pretty much the same between the two, except for after we get past this. All right, so, and exact spelling. Almost made that mistake. Here we're going to add another feature in here where it's going to check to see what state the button is in. We want to know when the key is pressed, we want something to happen. Everything else is similar, so this tap in which function we want to have happen if this condition is met. A player character enable sprint. So basically, as you can guess, it's saying bind this action. If the button is pressed, use this character's function, enable sprint. And now we need to turn it off. Which, as you can guess, we change this to released and this to disable. All right, and that should map our actions together so we can get everything done. We're going to go ahead and build this. All right, so that's a success. We can come back over to our code, or I'm sorry, to our editor. We're just going to go ahead and assume everything is good in the world. There's that. We're now in the screen. I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like we have some faster movements there. I let go of the button, go slower again, side to side even. And then I go again going forward. All right, so there you have it. We've added a sprinting feature to our player character.